this video I want to show you how to solve a quadratic equation by completing the square. Okay, so we have the quadratic equation x squared plus 6x minus 3 equals 0, and we can see that it doesn't factor, so we're going to complete the square. So to complete the square, we have to take this constant term, this minus 3, and we have to move it to the right hand side of the equal sign. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides, so that's going to give me x squared plus 6x. Now right here I want to leave a little space, and that's going to equal 3. So to complete the square, we take the middle term, the 6x, and we're going to half it. So we take 6 and we half it, and that gives us 3. Then after we half it, we're going to square it, and that gives us 9. So we put plus 9. So to complete the square, you take half the middle term and then square it. Half of 6 is 3, square it, we get 9. And since we added 9 to the left hand side, we also have to add 9 to the right hand side. Now, what we've done, this x squared plus 6x plus 9, this is a perfect square trinomial. This will factor. And if you're not sure on factoring, I have a bunch of videos on factoring. You can watch those and learn how to factor. But we factor this factors into x plus 3 squared, and that equals 3 plus 9, which is 12. So now we can use the even root property. We can square root both sides, so that gives us x plus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of 12. So we get x plus 3 equals plus or minus, and then when we simplify the square root of 12, remember simplifying the square root of 12, just to refresh your memory, that's the square root of 4 times 3, which is square root of 4 times square root of 3, and that equals 2 square roots of 3. Okay. So that's going to be plus or minus 2 square roots of 3, and then we subtract 3 to both sides, so that gives us x equals x equal negative 3 plus or minus 2 square roots of 3, and there's our answer. Let's take a look at another problem. X squared plus 5x plus 13 equals 0. So we move the 13 over, we subtract it to both sides. That's going to give us x squared plus 5x, leave our space, and that equals negative 13. Now I have to half the 5, so that's going to be 5 over 2, and then I square it. So I got 5 halves squared, that equals 25 over 4. So here I have plus 25 over 4, and I have to add 25 over 4 to this side also, to the right hand side. So now this is a perfect square trinomial, and an easy way to get it is you take the square root of this, which is x. This is plus. This is a plus here, so we bring the plus down. And then the square root of 25 over 4 is 5 halves. And this is going to equal negative 13 plus 25 over 4. Well, that's going to give us what? If we get a common denominator of 4, 13 times 4 is 52. Negative 52 plus 25 would be negative 27 over 4. Alright, so now we need to square root both sides, so that gives us x plus 5 halves equals plus or minus the square root of negative 27 over 4. So that's going to give us x plus 5 halves equals, now remember how to simplify this radical. This is going to be plus or minus I square root, this is going to be 3I square root of 3 over 2. And then we have to subtract 5 halves to both sides. So that's going to give us x equals negative 5 halves plus or minus 3I square root of 3 over 2. So we combine all this, that's x equal negative 5 plus or minus 3I square root of 3 over 2. And there's your answer. Let's take a look at one more. We have 2x squared minus 6x minus 3 equals 0. Now to complete the square, we can't have a number in front of our squared term. It has to be a 1. We can't have anything other than 1 in front of our squared term. So I need to divide each term by 2. So I get x squared minus 3x minus 3 halves equals 0. Then I have to move the 3 halves to the right, so I get x squared minus 3x, leave our space, equals 3 halves. So I half the 3, so I've got 3, I half it, and then I have to square it, so that's going to give me 9/4. So plus 9/4 plus 9/4. So that gives me the square root of x squared is x. That's a minus, so minus square root of 9/4 is 3 halves, and all of that squared. And that's going to equal 15 over 4. So I get x minus 3 halves equals plus or minus the square root of 15 over 4. So this is x minus 3 halves equals plus or minus the square root of 15 over 2. Add 3 halves to both sides. I get x equals 3 halves plus or minus square root of 15 over 2, or x equals, when I combine them, 3 plus or minus square root of 15 over 2. And there's my answer. I hope this video helped. Thanks.